Let's go for it.
So, Nellie, you're from Australia.
Yeah.
And you're associated with the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. Tell me a little bit about this organization and how you got involved.
So when I was 7, my mum took me along to a meeting, and I had such an amazing time that I said, Mum, I really, really want to go back. And so I've been going ever since. And I guess I understand that World Association of Girl Guides has 10 million members. We're a worldwide organisation in 145 different countries. Yes, we have a lot of reach to a lot of people.
Absolutely. And how? You're a member, but you're more than a member. Are you? You're a teacher.
I'm a leader as well.
You're a leader. Yes.
So I look after a group of girls.
Mm-hmm. And what's the age range?
For all of Girl Guides is 7 till 18 as a youth member. And then we have 18 to 30-year-olds as young adult members.
Okay. And how are you working in Australia right now? What are your priorities? What are girls looking at? What are their projects? What are they engaged in?
Girls are really interested in whatever's big at the time. And at the moment, climate change is pretty big. So they're really interested in climate change. They want to know what they can do and what they can get into their community and help with. So we've been looking at a couple of projects. Number one is recycling, and they've been involved in a recycling program for a number of years now. It's called Clean Up Australia Day, and one day every year they get in the community and clean up all the rubbish that they can find, whatever it is, whether it's a dirty piece of yuck on the ground to bottles and things like that. And we're just about to kick off a new campaign where we recycle mobile phones. So the Girl Guides in Australia will be the recyclers for all mobile phones in Australia.
Excellent.
Because they find that's a product that's out there right now, that's a disposable product. After a year, the mobile phone goes out and there's a battery in there which affects, the ground and the environment that it's in landfill. So we want to get that battery and that mobile phone out of landfill and get it recycled properly.
Okay, and Rima, you're from Lebanon. And what are you doing with the Girl Guides and Girl Scouts Association in Lebanon?
I'm currently a Brownie member, but I have made a workshop for the guides. It was a workshop to save electricity, basically, and save all the energy that's going to waste. So what we did was we made this workshop for these young girls, and we empowered them and gave them information about climate change in general, and more specifically what they can do about it at home. So what we did, after they got their own information, I told them it's not enough, we need to tell other people. So we made these small flyers, printed them on recycled papers, then we went around from city to city, from door to door, and told people, hey everybody, it's noon time. You don't really need the lights, do you? I mean, if you're inside, you can still see if your curtains are open. So that's what we did, and we told them, for example, if your stereo is on off, you just have to unplug the
cord? The plug. Yeah.
And because there are statistics that say that if you do those small, simple things at home, you can save up to 10% of your electricity bill, which is really great for the environment and for the people themselves. Some people are not really aware about climate change and about all these big issues because it's not affecting them at the moment, or they don't think it's affecting them. But when we tell them, try to sneak in a way, it's good for you too. You're saving yourself and the environment. So why not benefit in all cases?
Have food prices gone up in Lebanon?
Due to what?
Food prices gone up in Lebanon?
Yeah, all prices of everything go up gradually.
Well, and the reason I ask about food is because climate change, that is one place where particularly women can feel that because they are the cooks. They are the ones who purchase the food, prepare the food, and they watch the food budget. And because of climate change, a lot of food prices are shifting now and going up. So I was wondering if in either country, if that's an area where you started to teach girls to take a look at climate change, how it's starting to affect their food prices and food sources.
Actually, I'm not a bit of a cook. I don't know much about it, but I can hear my parents and relatives say that actually prices have gone up. all the cooking I do is at camps.
Right. I was just wondering if you were linking that, trying to link that in young women, girls and young women's mind, because it's a tangible. You were saying they weren't feeling it yet. And that's where a lot of countries are starting to see some of the effects. Although foods are imported, it's a little distant, but it's a good linkage, I think, for women.
I guess there's a lot of people that feel that there's climate change is out there. They just don't realise it. So in Australia, when a young girl is 7 years old, and the past 4 years there's been a bushfire every single year, she doesn't realise it's climate change. She either thinks that that's part of where she lives, or maybe it's just 4 years bad luck.
Because that's her life. That's what she's
what it's
known.
always been.
Right,
Yeah.
right. There's no historical perspective.
No, so we need to explain to them and also other people that, you know what, you didn't just have 4 years bad luck, that this is climate change.
This is climate change.
It's really happening.
How about these fires, these huge fires that took place? Well, I mean, I read somewhere where there were 4,000 dead flying foxes that were found after a fire went through a particular area. I mean, it broke my heart. Was that related to climate change, and did girls get involved in any of the cleanup, any of that?
Girls are currently involved with the cleanup. So not only are flying foxes involved, but all of the wildlife and the land that's in. So there's a big Girl Scout camp right there where the fire was affected. We've had a camp that's supposed to be happening in January, which is our centenary camp, because Girl Guides turn 100 next year. That camp's had to move. So everybody who's going to this Australia-wide camp has already felt the effects of not only that bushfire but climate change. It's also the trees that are burned down. That's less help that we have to fighting carbon emissions in the atmosphere.
Right.
Because the trees are a big help, and if you cut down all of those old trees that are so large, that has a big effect on what's going on in the atmosphere as well.
Exactly. And you're making those linkages.
Yeah. So girls
Great.
now down there are regenerating the land, replanting and recreating what used to be there in the environment.
Terrific. I have a question either one of you could answer is water. Water is a real question mark. Fresh water on the planet, particularly with temperatures rising and aquifers going down. And do you work with girls on water resources at all?
Water is huge in Australia. We have drought. It's pretty big. It's been around for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And we see the results in our water restrictions that we have. And people are only allowed to water their plants with bucket water. They're not allowed to use a hose. They're not allowed to wash their cars unless it's on a certain day at a certain time.
And you link and you make that linkage with the girls.
Yeah, and we ensure that they become water wise. That they know that they need to turn off the tap when they're brushing their teeth.
Yeah.
They know that when they're washing a car, you need to be able to use that.
And what about in Lebanon? Have you worked on water resources with your girls?
True, the same thing. I've been very much aware to tell the girls how to behave at home. I think that's a very important issue. There's a saying in Arabic that says, it means if you teach a person when he's young, then it will stick in his brain like a carving on a stone. So that's basically it. I think that if you teach a young child, a young girl, how to behave, then they would go home eventually and tell their mom, no, don't do this. We should do this because it's better for the nature, for example. Because when you're grown up, you're just used to, now let's just put that thing over there. Somebody will sort it out. But when you're young, you notice, oh no, I want to fix it. So I think that's actually what we're focusing on. So during our workshop that we have been doing, saving simple things in the household, teaching the young kids, we've been also telling them when they take a shower, when they brush their teeth, the simple things that they do, that they themselves can do.
Are you satisfied from a young woman's perspective and from the association that you're involved in? Are you satisfied with what the Lebanon delegates, the position they're taking here?
The delegates here. I haven't really been up to date with them because we have had many activities inside of it. So we're focusing on the youth participation here, but I'm not really up to date with them. Sorry. But for the moment I'm working with the Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, so this is where I am. If I have an opportunity to work with someone else and get our knowledge and experience at COP15 to among all people, that would be great, of course. We're already all writing blogs, and we're putting on Facebook our links and just come and watch us and see what we're doing. We encourage everybody to just know why we're here.
Why you're here.
We're all
Yeah. And
doing
what about you? Are you satisfied with the position Australia's taking in these negotiations?
Australia's been doing a bit of slow negotiating, I probably could say. They haven't really come to anything concrete yet that we can get in and act on. What they have put out is very minimal, so I'm not very satisfied so far.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.